Benjamin Nketsia has joined us on Zoom to tell us more. He's in Cote d'Ivoire, and he'll give us a bit of what the players are talking about and what people are saying in Cote d'Ivoire. Yes, probably let's get Ben. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Gabi. How you guys doing?
We are good. How are you doing too?
It's how would I put it? The day after is always a little harder.
You're struggling to tell us how you're doing
journal
because of.
yeah, journalist debates, fan debates. The Ivorians have been coming to us. They are even a little more upset than we are. But even before I get into anything, I say shout outs to everyone. Marcelo Bielsa will be proud of him and the analysis he's delivering there on the board.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I've been following for a while now.
Yeah.
And I also think that he made a really great point about forgiving Osman Bukari because he's right. He's right from Q. We've lost way too many players, and way too many players have been unwilling to continue their service with the Black Stars because they made one mistake or the other and were basically crucified for it. Osman is a really talented player. We've been clamoring for him to have a goal in this tournament. He finally gets a shot and he commits a really grave mistake. But hey, who hasn't committed a big mistake before? The best of them have all encountered situations like this. And so I think that as a nation, it's a hard pill to swallow. But I think we should forgive Osman Bukari and let it go. But as for the aftermath of it, the debates have been many. The conversations are vast. It depends on what you want to pick up on. I basically want to start off by saying that, hey, all is not lost yet.
Okay.
There's a battle to be won in the next game.
Yeah.
But this just gives me PTSD of Cameroon all over again.
I was just about coming to that.
Lost the first game, drew the second game, and then lots of uncertainty going into the final game. We just hope that we've learned our lessons. But just for me, one of the things that stood out, or one of the things that's been a running pattern throughout all of this, is the fact that our team cannot seem to hold the lead for 5 minutes. It's not something that's just starting from this particular AFCON. It's something that started from as far back as the last World Cup. Against South Korea, it happened. Against Portugal, it happened. In our qualifying series, it has happened. Every time we seem to score, our players switch off, and then we allow our opponents back into a game. So clearly, this is the pattern that has developed. Clearly, this team has concentration issues. If we forgot about it, we're reminded in that game against Cape Verde, and then we play against Egypt, and then it shows its face again. On our radio shows and our TV shows, we always talk about how this team needs to have a psychologist with them and not just have the GFA president go into the dressing room and grant grandiose speeches. We don't need that kind of stuff. We need an expert to work on the minds of our players. What is the psyche of our players every time we go up ahead? Are they still in celebratory mode when the opponents have kicked off again? Are they still thinking that, this game is already won? We need to find out exactly how they think when we concede or when we score goals, and why this keeps repeating itself. I think it's something we should seriously be looking at.
Talk to me about the Osman Bukari change. I mean, Edwin has said a lot about how we need to forgive him. But in terms of psyche, like you've mentioned that you're not too sure if we actually have a psychologist at the tournament. And this thing was very dominant at our World Cup series, where it was the same thing, like he said, against South Korea. We took the lead, and then we just had the Koreans to come into the game. How crucial is it to get these players really prepared for that final big game against Mozambique on Monday?
Well, something that a lot of us didn't see, and a lot of people were crucifying the coaching staff for yanking Osman Bukari, but I'm just picking up that Osman Bukari actually gestured to the technical bench to actually take him off.
Wow.
So this was something that was actually initiated by he himself. And if you know Osman Bukari, speed demon, he can take anybody on a one-on-one situation. Kudus Mohammed gave Osman Bukari the pass, and he could barely run. You could tell that he was tense. His legs couldn't even carry him. And so I'm just picking up that he actually was the one who gestured to the technical bench to take him off. And so that's actually interesting. I spoke to George Boateng, Richard Ofori after the game itself. And, I love how they are dealing with this as a collective. They say that we win together, we lose together, we draw together. And so as painful as this is, we are not making this an Osman Bukari issue. We're not going to make this an Inaki Williams issue, because, look, if you're going to point, the last thing you need in a competition setting, especially when you want to win your final game, is to start pointing accusing fingers at each other. That's not how group dynamics work, especially if you are in a football team that wants to achieve success. You need to understand that you are a group, you are a family, you are a tribe, and whatever happens, it affects everybody. If it's a success, you enjoy it together. When the downtimes come, you enjoy it together as well. So they say that they don't want to point fingers at their colleagues for making those individual errors, because it could have happened to anybody. It could have been any of them in that mix. And if we are being honest, the best players commit mistakes. It's not a situation of our players not being good enough and so they commit a mistake. It was just probably one of those hot-headed moments in a heated game. It was a very intense game. Osman Bukari being brought on, being expected to warm himself up into the game all of a sudden. My only problem is that Osman Bukari run towards our own goal was a little pass. It was almost like he was running to score against us. I'm like, you might as well have added a step over so we know what you're about to do, because hey, that was really puzzling for me. But I feel like we need to cut him some slack.
Okay.
It's painful, but it's one of those things in football. You can't crucify the young man for it. He's been brilliant for us in the past, so we need to forgive him, and then we need to keep him moving.
All right, Ben. Final thought before I let you go. One thing you think that we need to do to get it right against Mozambique on Monday. Just one thing, and then you go.
First of all, we do not need to go into that game thinking that, you know what, we played a good game against Egypt, and so Mozambique are about to be a walkover. That's the thing with the Black Stars. They are very, very inconsistent mentally. One moment they look switched on, the next moment they switched off. And so that's why I'm worried about the lack of a presence of a psychologist in camp, because these are things that you watch tape on. These are things that you question the players on, you find the root cause of, and you try to solve. And so I hope that we will be switched on 120 minutes, if that's what it means. Richard Ofori said that, after these past two games, we wanted to give 100%, but now we've realized that 100% is not good enough. You need to give 110% of yourself. You need to not switch off until the opponent's team bus has left the parking lot. That's how serious it needs to be. It's not even just about what happens on the pitch. We need to make sure that you don't go into that game thinking that, you know what, we dealt with Egypt, or we played a good game against Egypt and should have won. And so against Mozambique, it's about to be a walk in the park for us. If you've seen the Mozambicans play, you know that game is nothing. It's not going to be a cakewalk. And so we need to come extra prepared. We also need to present the right personnel again. I saw Majid Ashimeru limping through the mix zone when the game was done. And I'm not sure what the diagnosis on him is, but that would be one thing to look out for, because he's been such a pivotal part of how we play. Look, I dare even say that in the unfortunate circumstance that Ashimeru cannot continue and Houghton wants a ball progressor, throw in Richmond Lamptey. If you cannot trust a player to play when there are a lack of options, then why did you take the player to the competition? If he's not good enough to play, leave him at home. And so if there is the scenario that Majid cannot play, I think Richmond Lamptey should be giving a shot at this. Look, football is one of those things where you require confidence to play. Let's build his confidence up if that's what needs to be done. But in the case that starting central midfielder cannot play, we need to go for a credible option, because in that game against Mozambique, it's not a game where you need to go in and really play a defensive setup. We need to go in front foot. We need to dictate the tempo of the game, and we need to concentrate. Really, I can't harp on this enough. We need to concentrate. It's been a really big bother of mine from seeing the team in Cameroon, from seeing them in the World Cup, and now from seeing them now. It looks like we really have serious concentration issues as a team. We need to find a way to keep our heads in the game for as long as the game lasts. And I think that with all things being equal, I'm sure the boys have come for it. You don't want to be that team or that group of players who crashed out of the AFCON twice in the group stages. That would be a disaster. And as things stand now, we are on a very unhealthy run. I don't know if it's 11 games without a win in the AFCON or 12.
Yeah, it's 11.
Either which ways, it's not a record to be proud of. I mean, this is Ghana. I mean, can you imagine 11 games without a win in an AFCON? It's crazy. I don't know how that sounds to anybody, but that's very crazy to me. And I think that the FA will also be looking at this like, you know what, in our 10 years since we took over in the AFCON, we probably won one match.
Back-to-back exits.
One match as an administration, and we are looking at back-to-back exits. And so I think that in this kind of situation, I'd say we need to make sure our boys are motivated. But hey, if you are a footballer in this kind of situation
Okay.
and you cannot motivate yourself, I'm not sure when you are going to find motivation to ever play or put your heart out for your country again.
All right, Ben, thank you so much, and do take care of yourself in Cote d'Ivoire. We'll see you on the other side. Thank you so much, Ben.
Appreciate you guys. You're doing a great job.
All right, so that's Benjamin Nketsia all the way in Abidjan with all the info you want to know. But